Ladies and gentlemen, there are moments in life when it feels like everything is crumbling around us, when the weight of the world presses against our shoulders, and when the storm seems to rage unrelentingly. People, situations, and circumstances may come at us from all directions, and it might seem as though everything we've worked for, everything we've dreamed of, is being taken from us. The hurt can feel like it's too much to bear, and we may question, why is this happening to me? But my friend, let me remind you of something profound. They thought they broke you, but God was building you. You see, there is a deeper work being done in the midst of the pain. Those moments of difficulty, those seasons of testing, are not signs of defeat. Rather, they are the foundation upon which strength is being built. The people who attempted to tear you down, the circumstances that seemed to push you to your breaking point, they didn't have the power to break you. What they didn't realize is that God was using that very opposition to build something within you that could never be shaken. Think about the process of refining gold. The gold goes through intense heat and it melts under the pressure of the fire. To the untrained eye, it might seem as though the gold is being destroyed, but in reality, the fire is purging it of all impurities. It's making it pure, more valuable, and stronger than it ever was before. It's the same with us. The hardships we face in life are not meant to destroy us. They are meant to refine us. Every trial, every heartache, every disappointment is an opportunity for us to become more resilient, more steadfast, and more grounded in our purpose. It's easy to look at the surface and think that the storms of life are tearing us apart. But when we look deeper, we see that God is using those very storms to shape our character, our faith, and our understanding. The pain you felt, the tears you've shed, and the wounds that have left scars, they're not in vain. God is using those things to create something beautiful in you, something that will last. The work He is doing in your life may not always be visible right away, but it is happening. Trust that even in the dark moments, He is at work. The truth is, growth rarely happens in the easy seasons of life. When everything is going well, we tend to become comfortable, complacent even. But it's when we face challenges that our faith is strengthened, our perseverance is tested, and our character is built. God does not waste our pain. Every setback is setting us up for a comeback. Every difficulty is positioning us for a destiny that is greater than we could have imagined. When people thought they were tearing you down, God was building you up. He was equipping you with the strength to endure, the wisdom to discern, and the courage to rise above. The very things that once made you feel small, insignificant, or incapable are the things that are now making you mighty. You are not who you once were. You are not defined by your failures or your struggles. You are defined by what God is doing inside of you right now. In the moments when you feel defeated, remember this. The enemy may try to discourage you. The world may try to knock you down. But God is always at work, weaving a masterpiece out of the mess. The trials you face today are the building blocks of the testimony you will share tomorrow. What may feel like a season of loss is actually a season of growth. You may not understand it now, but trust that every tear you've shed, every disappointment you've faced, and every trial you've overcome has been part of the process of making you stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the future ahead. You are not broken. You are being built. Every piece of your story is being woven together by the hand of God to create something far greater than you can comprehend. And though it may not always be easy to see, remember that the pain you feel is temporary, but the strength you gain is eternal. So stand tall today, knowing that you are not defined by your circumstances. You are not defined by the people who tried to tear you down. You are defined by the God who is building you, shaping you, and preparing you for something incredible. He hasn't given up on you. He hasn't forgotten you. He is with you, refining you and equipping you for a future filled with purpose and victory. Keep your head up, your heart strong, and know that the best is yet to come. Life has a way of throwing challenges at us that seem overwhelming, leaving us questioning whether we will ever make it through. In the midst of hardship, it's easy to start thinking that these struggles are a reflection of who we are, that they define us. We may believe that our failures, our shortcomings, or our painful experiences have set the course of our life. But this is a lie that the enemy wants us to believe. The truth is, our trials do not define us, they refine us. When we face difficulties, the natural human response is to feel defeated. We may look at our situation and think, I'm not good enough, or I'll never get through this. But what if we changed our perspective? What if, instead of seeing hardships as something that diminishes us, we saw them as something that refines us, shapes us, and prepares us for the future? Trials are not designed to break us. They are designed to make us stronger, more resilient, and more equipped for what lies ahead. Think about the process of refining gold. Gold starts off as raw, impure material that's often mixed with other minerals. It's not until it goes through the fire that it becomes pure. The heat and pressure are uncomfortable, even painful, but they are necessary for the gold to reach its highest potential. The same principle applies to us. We are constantly being shaped and refined in the fires of our lives. It's in these moments that our true strength and character are revealed. When we experience hardship, it's easy to focus on the negative and think of it as a punishment. We may think, why me? Or what did I do to deserve this? But hardship is not a reflection of our worth. It is not a sign that we are somehow less than. On the contrary, it's a sign that we are being molded for something greater. Every difficulty, every challenge, and every obstacle we face is an opportunity for us to rise above and become the person we were always meant to be. It's essential to recognize that our worth is not determined by the things we go through. The Bible reminds us that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, Psalm 139:14. And nothing we face can take away the value we have in God's eyes. Our struggles do not define us, but how we respond to them does. The way we face adversity, the way we hold on to our faith through trials, and the way we continue to move forward in the midst of pain shapes our character and strengthens us for what lies ahead. Think about the times when you've overcome challenges in your life. Those victories weren't won by being perfect or by having everything go smoothly. They were won through perseverance, faith, and the willingness to keep moving forward, even when things seemed impossible. Every battle you've fought, every hardship you've endured, has made you stronger, more capable, and more prepared for the next challenge. My hope is for you that you develop a new perspective on life. This is why we can take comfort in knowing that the trials we face are not meant to defeat us. God does not bring hardship into our lives to punish us. He allows it to refine us, to teach us, and to equip us for the future. We might not always understand why we face certain challenges, but we can trust that God is using them for our good. He is shaping us into the person He created us to be, and He will never leave us or forsake us in the process. When we face trials, it's important to remember that we don't go through them alone. We are not defined by our struggles, but by the one who walks with us through them. Our trials refine us, not because they are easy or pleasant, but because they force us to rely on God's strength, trust in His timing, and lean into His promises. We can endure because He is with us every step of the way. So when you face difficulty, remember this: Your trial is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of a new chapter. The fire may be hot and the road may be rough, but it is in these moments that you are being refined, shaped, and made stronger. You are not defeated. You are being made into something greater than you were before. And that is something worth holding on to with hope and faith, knowing that the best is yet to come. Life has a way of testing us, sometimes relentlessly. When we face difficulties, whether it's the loss of a job, the breakdown of a relationship, personal failure, or physical challenges, we can easily begin to feel that we've been set back or that our progress has come to a halt. The pain of these setbacks can make us question ourselves, our decisions, and even our purpose. But the truth is, setbacks are not roadblocks. They are opportunities for growth. In every difficulty, there lies the potential for personal growth, strength, and resilience. Pain, rather than being a symbol of defeat, is often the catalyst for the greatest transformation. We often think of success as a smooth, straight line, an easy progression toward our goals with little to no resistance. But that's not how growth works. Real growth comes from the places we least expect it. It happens when we are forced to confront our weaknesses, face our fears, and endure challenges that push us beyond what we thought we were capable of. Setbacks, rather than being an indication of failure, are part of the process of becoming the person we are meant to be. In those moments, we are being refined. We are being prepared for a future that requires greater strength and character. The key to understanding setbacks is recognizing that they often provide us with valuable lessons. For instance, when a project we're working on falls apart, it may seem like a total failure. But if we pause and reflect, we realize we've learned something from the process. Maybe it's how to approach the problem differently next time, or how to communicate more effectively. Each setback is an opportunity to learn, to adapt, and to become better equipped for future challenges. The same principle applies in the context of personal relationships. When a friendship or romantic relationship ends, it's easy to feel that it's the end of the world. But with time, we often come to realize that those painful moments taught us valuable lessons about ourselves and about what we need in relationships. Setbacks in relationships often reveal areas where we can grow. Perhaps we learn to communicate more effectively, set healthier boundaries, or discover the importance of self-love and respect. Though the process may be painful, it is shaping us into individuals who are better prepared for future connections. In our professional lives, setbacks can feel particularly discouraging. We may work tirelessly on a project only to see it fail, or we might face rejection after rejection in our efforts to climb the career ladder. These moments can be disheartening, but they also teach us perseverance. Each rejection is a lesson in resilience, and each failure is an opportunity to build our problem-solving skills. What's often most valuable is not the success itself, but the determination to keep going even when the road is hard. Setbacks can also reveal our internal strength, a strength we may not even know we have until we face adversity. When we experience hardship, we often discover resources within ourselves that we didn't realize existed. The person who emerged from a setback is usually stronger, wiser, and more self-aware than they were before. And this strength is something that we carry with us into every future challenge. Furthermore, setbacks often prepare us for greater success. They teach us patience, humility, and the ability to adapt to new situations. Success is rarely about immediate gratification or quick wins. More often it is about persistence, learning from mistakes, and improving over time. Setbacks remind us that progress doesn't always look the way we expect it to. The road to success may be winding, filled with unexpected detours, but it is still leading us somewhere valuable. As we go through these times, it's essential to shift our perspective. Instead of viewing setbacks as a sign that we're on the wrong path or that we've failed, we can choose to see them as essential parts of our journey. Every challenge we face is an opportunity for us to grow, learn, and become stronger. Pain, rather than being something to avoid, can be embraced as a powerful teacher. Setbacks are not permanent. They are temporary hurdles meant to build us up, not break us down. The key to overcoming setbacks is understanding that they don't define us. It is how we respond to them that shapes our future. When we approach setbacks with faith and resilience, we transform them from obstacles into stepping stones that lead us to a greater purpose. Our challenges may test us, but they also help us discover who we truly are and what we're capable of achieving. Through every setback, we become stronger and more equipped for the challenges that lie ahead. Life is full of challenges that test our endurance, patience, and resolve. There are moments when it feels like we're stuck in a cycle of difficulty, unable to move forward. During these times, it's easy to feel like we've reached our limit, that we can't go on, or that we don't have what it takes to keep pushing through. But it's in these very moments of struggle that we build our inner strength, the kind of strength that enables us to face even greater challenges down the road. The difficulties we endure are not only tests of our endurance, but opportunities to cultivate perseverance, determination, and resilience, qualities that ultimately shape our character and prepare us for what lies ahead. In order to truly grow, we must push through moments of discomfort. Comfort may feel good in the moment, but it is often during the uncomfortable times that we experience the most personal growth. When everything is going smoothly, it's easy to stay in our routines and not challenge ourselves. But when life presents obstacles, we are forced to step out of our comfort zones, adapt to new situations, and find solutions to problems we never imagined we would face. It is through overcoming these challenges that we find our true capacity for resilience. Consider the process of physical training. If you want to get stronger, you have to push your body beyond what it is currently capable of. Muscles grow when they are stretched and challenged, not when they are left idle. The same principle applies to our mental, emotional, and spiritual strength. We don't develop resilience by avoiding challenges. We develop it by confronting them head on, by continuing to move forward even when we feel we have nothing left to give. The strength we build in these moments doesn't happen overnight, but every time we press through, we are becoming stronger than we were before. Furthermore, the strength we develop through adversity is not just about endurance. It's about wisdom. Every challenge we face teaches us something valuable, whether it's a lesson in patience, a better understanding of our own limits, or an insight into how to approach a similar situation in the future. The wisdom we gain from navigating difficult times equips us to face future trials with greater clarity and confidence. This is why our struggles are never in vain. They provide the raw material we need to build a foundation of wisdom that will serve us for years to come. The strength we gain from our struggles also plays a significant role in how we relate to others. When we've walked through hard times ourselves, we become more empathetic to the struggles of those around us. We begin to understand that everyone has their own battles to fight, and we learn to offer compassion and support. The resilience we build isn't just for our own benefit. It allows us to help others who are facing similar challenges, offering them hope and encouragement when they need it most. Resilience isn't something that can be developed in isolation. It's a trait that is cultivated in the company of others, whether that's through support from friends, family, or a faith community. When we face struggles together, we draw strength from one another, knowing that we don't have to go through hard times alone. Resilience is about leaning into the support systems around us and using them to help us build the mental and emotional strength we need to persevere. While the challenges we face may seem insurmountable at times, it's important to remember that no obstacle is too great for us to overcome. The strength we build through adversity is a direct result of how we choose to respond to our circumstances. When we allow ourselves to be shaped by the difficulties we face rather than defeated by them, we grow stronger and more capable of handling whatever comes next. Each challenge, no matter how small or large, adds to the reservoir of strength within us, preparing us for the future. Ultimately, it's through our struggles that we discover what we're truly capable of. We may not always understand why we go through certain trials, but in hindsight, we can often see how those experiences shaped us into the person we are today. The pain, the frustration, the heartache, all of it contributes to the strength we carry with us into the next chapter of our lives. So when you feel overwhelmed by the weight of your struggles, remember that this is the time when you are becoming stronger, more resilient, and more prepared for whatever comes next. These are the moments that are shaping you, and they are building the inner strength that will carry you through the rest of your journey. When we go through difficult seasons in life, it often feels like we're walking through a storm with no clear sense of direction or purpose. It's easy to feel lost, discouraged, or alone. During such times, it may seem as though our struggles are pointless or that we are somehow abandoned. However, one of the most profound truths that we can hold on to is that even when we cannot see it, there is always a greater purpose behind our difficulties. While we may not always understand the process, God is at work in our lives, even when His work is not immediately visible to us. It is this unseen work that forms the foundation for the transformation and growth we experience. The idea of God's unseen work is often difficult to grasp, especially in moments of pain or suffering. When we're in the midst of a trial, it's hard to see beyond the immediate struggle, but faith teaches us that despite appearances, there's a greater plan at work. God works in the unseen, behind the scenes, orchestrating the circumstances of our lives to shape us into the people we are meant to be. We are often unaware of the ways in which He is working, but we can trust that His hand is at work, refining us, preparing us, and leading us toward a future that is beyond our understanding. The Bible offers many examples of individuals who faced hardship and struggle, yet did not see the full extent of God's plan until much later. Take the story of Joseph, for instance. Joseph's brothers sold him into slavery, and he faced years of hardship, imprisonment, and rejection. At the time, it seemed like his life was falling apart. However, Joseph later saw that all of these painful events were part of God's greater plan to position him in a place of influence where he could save many lives during a time of famine. Joseph didn't understand it at the time, but the process of his suffering and the unseen work of God were leading him toward a greater purpose. Similarly, when we face hardship, we may not immediately see how it fits into the larger picture of our lives, but just because we don't see the results right away doesn't mean that God is not working. We are often unaware of how our experiences are shaping us, teaching us, and equipping us for what lies ahead. There is a purpose behind every challenge, even if it's hidden from our view in the moment. God's unseen work in our lives, every trial, every moment of suffering, is a chance for us to develop qualities like patience, humility, faith, and perseverance. While we may not realize it, each difficulty is refining us in ways that we can't always see or understand. Like a sculptor chiseling away at a block of marble, God is constantly shaping us, removing the things that don't belong, and molding us into the people He wants us to be. One of the most profound aspects of God's unseen work is that He often works in us at the very moments when we feel most powerless. When we are at our lowest, we may feel as though we have nothing left to give. But that is when God is often doing his most important work within us. Our weaknesses create space for him to work in ways we could never have imagined on our own. In those moments of despair or helplessness, God is filling us with strength, wisdom, and understanding that we will need for the road ahead. Furthermore, God's unseen work is not just about us individually. It also extends to the relationships and connections we have with others. Sometimes our struggles are not just for our own growth, but also for the benefit of those around us. Our experiences of hardship can become a source of encouragement and strength for others who are facing similar trials. In this way, the work God is doing in us is not only shaping our character, but also impacting the lives of those we encounter along the way. As we walk through the challenges of life, it's essential to trust that even when we cannot see what God is doing, he is always at work in the background. The moments when we feel like we're walking alone, or when we can't understand why we're going through what we are going through, are often the moments when God is doing his deepest and most transformative work in our hearts. Trusting in his unseen work requires faith, the belief that, despite the circumstances, he is present, active, and moving us towards something greater than we can currently perceive. When we learn to trust in the unseen, we begin to shift our perspective. Instead of seeing difficulties as obstacles or setbacks, we begin to view them as opportunities for growth, as part of the larger story that God is writing in our lives. Even when we don't understand the why behind our struggles, we can trust that the work he is doing in us is purposeful and good. It is this faith in his unseen work that allows us to persevere, to hope, and to keep moving forward, even when the path ahead seems uncertain. At times, when we are faced with hardships, it feels like everything is falling apart. We see doors closing, opportunities slipping away, and situations unraveling in ways we never imagined. In the midst of these difficulties, it's easy to think that we've been broken, that we've reached the end of the road, or that we've failed in some way. But this perspective doesn't take into account the fact that often what appears to be destruction is actually a process of transformation. The pieces of our lives may be scattered, but God is in the business of rebuilding, and he specializes in making all things new. What may seem like an end is often the beginning of something greater. When we go through trials, we tend to focus on the immediate pain and loss. We grieve what we've lost, whether it's a relationship, a job, a dream, or even our sense of stability. It's natural to mourn the things that have been taken from us, and it's important to process those feelings. However, it's also essential to remember that God doesn't waste our pain. What may seem like destruction in the moment is often the very thing God uses to rebuild us into something stronger, something more aligned with his purpose for our lives. The process of destruction and rebuilding is often seen in nature. Consider the example of a forest after a wildfire. In the aftermath of a fire, it can appear that everything has been destroyed. Trees are burned, the landscape is scarred, and the future seems uncertain. But in reality, the fire clears away old, dead growth, makes room for new life, and revitalizes the soil, allowing fresh growth to emerge. The destruction isn't the end of the story, it's the beginning of a new chapter. Similarly, in our own lives, we may face seasons of apparent destruction, but those very moments can set the stage for new growth, new opportunities, and new purposes to emerge. God often works in this way. He allows us to go through seasons where it feels like things are falling apart in order to make room for something better. The things that we think are lost or destroyed are often the things that need to be removed for us to grow. We may not understand it at the time, but the destruction of what once was makes space for what is yet to come. Sometimes God has to break down the things in our lives that were never meant to last or that were holding us back, so that we can move forward into something greater. Rebuilding after destruction is never a quick or easy process. Well, it takes time, effort, and patience. When we're in the midst of it, it's easy to feel discouraged or impatient, wondering if things will ever get back to normal. But God doesn't work according to our timeline. His plans are much greater than our immediate comfort. He is intentional about the process, and though it may take time for the pieces of our lives to fall back into place, we can trust that He is rebuilding us in a way that is far better than we could ever imagine. Moreover, the rebuilding process often requires us to look at ourselves and our lives from a new perspective. When we go through hardship, we are given the opportunity to reassess what truly matters, what is important, and what is worth holding on to. Sometimes we cling to things, people, or situations that no longer serve us, and God in His wisdom allows them to be removed so that we can focus on what is truly essential. This process of letting go can be painful, but it's also an invitation to trust God more fully and to step into a future that is aligned with His greater purpose for us. The rebuilding that God does in our lives also makes us stronger, more resilient, and more equipped for the future. Just as a building that has been torn down can be rebuilt with a stronger foundation, the challenges and hardships we face can serve to fortify our faith and character. The things that seem to break us can, in the hands of God, become the very things that make us stronger and more prepared for what lies ahead. In this process of destruction and rebuilding, it's important to keep our eyes fixed on the ultimate truth that we are never beyond God's reach, and we are never beyond His ability to restore and rebuild. Even when everything seems to fall apart, God is working behind the scenes, weaving together the broken pieces of our lives into a beautiful new creation. The destruction we experience is not the end of our story, but the beginning of a new season, a new chapter, and a new purpose that will be revealed in time. As we go through the process of rebuilding, we must trust that the things that seem broken today are the very things that God is using to create something better tomorrow. What may seem like the end is often the start of something new, a transformation that we may not fully understand in the moment, but will eventually see unfold in its fullness. In the end, we will realize that the brokenness was necessary for the rebuilding, and that God's plans for us were always greater than we could have ever imagined. Through every trial, every setback, and every moment of pain, we must remember that God is always working behind the scenes. What may appear as destruction is actually His divine process of building, shaping, and refining us for something greater. The struggles we face do not define us, they refine us. They are stepping stones that prepare us for the future, growing our strength, character, and resilience. Even when we can't see the work He's doing, we can trust that His purpose is at play. The pieces may seem scattered, but in God's hands, nothing is wasted. Our brokenness is never the end, but the beginning of a new chapter in our journey. Keep believing, keep trusting, and know that the best is yet to come. The storms will pass, the trials will fade, and you will emerge stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the incredible purpose God has for you. You are not broken, you are being rebuilt. And in the end, you will see the beauty that emerged from the process. Keep going, because your breakthrough is on the horizon.